Hi guys. Actually, I think I said it too early, but it's fine. Hi guys. We're back again, Alté LDN Podcast.
We are.
It's us. It's Afia and Charlene in the house again. Before we get into this episode and we just want to make clear the purpose of the episodes, the series in particular, what we're doing. We want to bring awareness, especially to the Black community, because a lot of the conversations that we're having, especially when it comes to things like sexual consent and rape and the issues that we were talking about in the last episode, they aren't spoken about as much, and we just want to make clear that we don't know all the answers. We don't have all the answers. We don't know everything, and we definitely make mistakes, and we just want to say that if anything that we have said has offended anyone in the previous episodes, that we do sincerely apologize for that, and we are open to be educated on anything that you think we didn't mention. And in particular, I think I said a point where I said 9 times out of 10 people are assaulted by people they know. That isn't the actual statistics. It's just that the majority of the time that is not the actual statistics. I just want to make clear that wasn't that, and I should have done my reading in that, so I apologize for that fact. So basically, the purpose of this series in particular is to educate people who don't know about certain communities, or just creating different conversations that our communities in particular don't really have, and because they're not so mainstream for us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because just generally, our community, especially not even just the Black community, but ethnic communities, are very conservative. We don't have conversations like this, so we're just trying to say it from our point of view, from growing up as Black children, how it has been for us and our friends, and just what we've seen. That's just the experience that we're coming from, basically, and we're just trying to educate. So anything that you guys want us to speak on, anything that we haven't said correct, please let us know, because we're always willing to learn. 100%.
Definitely. And also, just to add to that as well, if there's anything you think we should talk about as well, then do let us know. Because as Afia has already said really eloquently, the idea is that we want to talk about this more in the Black community, and as you said, ethnic communities, but it's still the Black community, because lots and lots of things are just not shunned upon, or ignored, or not acknowledged, and I feel we're a few years behind sometimes the world, because we're not sort of open to having these conversations, and maybe sort of developing our thinking a bit. So also for the old generation, our parents and stuff like that, I mean they're definitely sort of set in their own ways a lot of the time, so hopefully we can sort of help the shift in consciousness and the shift in thoughts and stuff like that moving forward. But we will say as well, on a positive note, we've had some really good feedback from yourself, so just thank you so much. We are always so grateful for all the listeners and things like that. We really are just two girls chatting our shit, trying to make sense of what's going on around us, and we just are really grateful, so thank you so much.
100%. Thank you very much. And with that said, today's topic is about sex positivity, and it's just such a big one, because obviously there's so many things happening just generally, and we've said this in the past episodes, that more things are being spoken about, and definitely women in particular reclaiming their sexuality, being sex positive and all that sort of stuff. So today's episode, we're basically just going to try and educate you guys about what it is, where it's sort of spiraled from, people it's impacted, businesses is impacted, all that sort of different stuff. And
this is a good continuation on from last week. If you listened to last week's episode, where we spoke about sort of sexual assault and sexual misconduct, this is the flip side. We should own our shit. So hopefully through this episode we can make that clear and unpick a lot of the sort of barriers there are, if you like, surrounding it. But so sex positivity, what is it, Afia?
Positivity. So what is sex positivity, guys? So sex positivity is an attitude towards human sexuality that regards all consensual sexual activities as fundamentally healthy and pleasurable, encouraging sexual pleasure and experimentation. So that is what sex positivity is. And what's interesting about that, because I think we're going to be today speaking about it from a female point of view, just because we are women, but typically women were not we just weren't like allowed to enjoy sex. It was seen as something that was done to us.
Yeah, just a sexual experience in general.
Yeah,
like
for men, like it was just like men to enjoy, like you know, we should just be there to have kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like that's why sex positivity is so important. So yeah, that's what sex positivity I cannot speak today. That's what sex
the
positivity
struggle is real,
mate. I can say what it isn't, because then there's a flip side to that. So it's not just about like loving sex, you know, like there's a lot of people who like love sex, but if you're not all inclusive for it, for example, if you're queer phobic, if you're homophobic, that is not being sex positive, because you should be about like all forms of sex, if you're about that. And it's also about having boundaries as well. I think people think that because you're sex positive that you don't have any boundaries, that you're willing to do every and anything, and that's just not what it's about.
I mean, no means no.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so yeah, like people,
and also about expression.
Yeah, about expression as well, exactly. Expressing yourself through sex, which I think is great. And yeah, so like in terms of like boundaries and stuff, people like seem to think that they have like an access to your body because you are sex positive, and no, like you should still have sex with who you want to. It's just like about doing it whenever you want, with no like, you know, qualms about it. So yeah,
and it's also about feeling your way, like feeling sexual in your own way, like for yourself. Like at the end of the day, like you should be pleasing first and foremost yourself, and then whomever afterwards. But like, you know, it's like if you want to put on a little outfit or you want to do anything you want, like listen, you can do it, and
whatever
it's about owning that. Yeah, it's about owning
Definitely.
that with confidence, you know.
Definitely, 100%. And also, even if you're like, so it's whatever like gets you off, basically. So like, even if you're more into like giving rather than receiving, like all that sort of shit, like it's just about creating a good vibe for yourself, and 100%. Also being safe about it. So like, you can be as freaky as you want, but just be safe, guys.
Freak in the sheets.
So exactly, just be safe, use protection, just like, you know, consent. Obviously we spoke about consent in the last episode. Make sure everyone's cool with the situation, people are comfortable with it, you know, all that sort of stuff. Just, you know, just be respectful with each other,
100%.
Whoever.
I mean, I feel like there's so much to talk about under this topic, so I think let's go to the big thing of this week. Wow, that didn't sound as melodic as yours. But it's gonna maybe mess up the order of it, but I just feel like we should get to it. So this week, the reason why we feel like it's so important to talk about it, not only because it is just an important topic, especially with all the crazy things that are happening, you know, surrounding Me Too, as we spoke about already in the last episode, but because this week, in the last week, we had the new video from Cardi B featuring
wow.
There's some holes in this house. Cardi B featuring Megan Thee Stallion, come out called What, which stands for Wet Ass Poop.
Wet Ass Poussoir.
And so there was so much controversy surrounding that. I'm sure everyone listening, I'm sure you can't not have seen something. I mean, I hadn't even seen the video for a few days, and I'd seen all the controversy around it. I mean, the video's got millions and millions of views already, and it's only been like a week. I think when I last looked at the count, it had been 4 days and it had like 70 million views at that time. So now
the last I looked at was 40.
So now it's probably at 100. We can probably check that in a second. But there's a big video. So it's a huge anthem. You know, it was like two our biggest female rappers coming together, which is just amazing. It is a Cardi B song, however, you know, like Meg Thee Stallion,
Meg's been doing her thing.
She's doing her thing on it, and Meg's been doing her thing, and you know, I'm happy for her as well, just because of course she's been going through some stuff, you know, with everything that happened to her, and so this is like a great, you know, positive thing to sort of like start her, you know, start her career. Not again, but you know, just, you know, something positive to focus on.
Get her more out there,
exactly. So, you know, the video is set in like a weird house, kind of like Mad Hatter kind of vibe type thing going on, and there's those different scenes, there's those different cameos. So we've got Kylie Jenner, we've got Mulatto, she's an American rapper, we have Normani, we have Sugihana, who we love, and is that it?
No, you said Normani already.
Rosalia. And of course, oh my gosh, how can I forget?
Rosalia.
And do you know what I like about Rosalia? She did her own thing. Like
she did a little Spanish thing. I said yes.
She did her own thing, but also her outfit was very different to the others. We can talk about that in a second. But so yeah, there was some like strong women in the video, but yes, of course, there's controversy. So the first what I want to talk about and get out of the way because
women can never be happy.
I know. The first one, the first I want to talk about and get out of the way because it's actually just so unimportant is Kylie Jenner. I don't understand what the beef is. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I just don't. I mean, I know Afia is like. I think reading at the seams. No, listen, I just don't care. Like like people like, oh my god, like what was the point?
Actually that deep.
Like I just don't. Like, I don't care.
I think the reason is because people see her as a culture vulture.
Right.
I think what everyone thought, which actually what isn't what Cardi B was trying to do, but everyone thought was like, this is a video for like black women in the industry, so everyone was like, it's taken away from the black girl moment. And then to have like someone who's seen as such a culture vulture like as Kylie Jenner, to have her as a fourth, because she had like the biggest part obviously as the cameo. The music stopped, she was walking in slow motion, hair swishing, ass like doing whatever, and then it was Kylie Jenner. Everyone was like, what? So I think that's why people were pissed off. People were like, where's Rihanna, where's Beyonce?
But do you think Rihanna and Beyonce coming yet? Nah, fam. Listen, the thing is,
I mean, if Beyonce came, that would be crazy. I feel like Rihanna would have done it over Beyonce. I don't even know.
Them man are doing their thing. But listen, this is my thing, right? Yeah. I just don't think it's a big deal. Like, I think that, you know, we're gonna get to the real issues, which is the, you know, the controversy surrounding the sex positivity and like people just like slut shaming them and, you know, and crazy shit like that. But I just want to say that like I just think it's ridiculous. Like literally all I saw was Kylie Jenner, and it's just like at the end of the day, like she.
But it was random though.
I mean,
like,
but
she's
all
not
of them
even
are
a musician.
random, but
the other girls are musicians. Yeah, but they're
no, you're right.
At least.
You're right. No, you are.
But
they are. But I just don't even like. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to find. I think it's actually very smart on their part because they were exposed to a whole new audience that they wouldn't have been done to already. So for me, like that's a big deal. At the end of the day, she's got one of the biggest social media followings, and so yeah. But let's not talk about it anymore but I want to get out of the way because I know people will be like, oh my god, you didn't mention her. So, but to the real issue, which is this slut shaming, anti-sex positive shit going on, like it's crazy. Like people,
and it's mad.
It's crazy. Sorry, go. Yeah.
No, you go ahead. Sorry,
I'm just saying that people are literally reading. I say people, a lot of men, to be honest with you,
it's just the men.
Are, you know,
especially male rappers, which I'm surprised.
Right. So we've seen CeeLo Green.
Male rapper. And the thing is, can CeeLo Green even talk? CeeLo Green, who's been accused of like drugging a woman and doing whatever, so like he really can't speak. But I mean, like the thing is with like men, especially the male rappers who've come out and said stuff about it, is that men rap about pussy all day, every day. So for you to come out and say, and like to say anything against a woman speaking about like her vagina and enjoying sex, like it just doesn't make any sense to me, because that is typically like what a lot of rap is about, especially mainstream rap. Not all rap, but mainstream rap is typically about having sex with women. So there's the hypocrisy of it all is just so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't understand. So we're so used to rappers talking about their experiences, bitches and hoes,
right?
You know, I'm gonna do this and that, you know, there's lots, you know, and so they literally always talking about what someone's gonna do to their ding dong. Do you know what I mean? And like I don't understand.
I mean, 50 Cent had a whole song called Candy Shot. What was that about? I'll take you to the, like...
It just doesn't really make any sense. Like, why is it okay? And this obviously then speaks to, like, of course, the genderism that's always going on, you know, that, you know, women are less than or not able to be equal to. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, I was really surprised. Like, there's so many songs, like, that we could even list here, you know, of rappers talking explicitly about women having it, like with explicit videos. I mean, to be honest with you, in this video, they didn't even have any men, like, that they were, like, you know, that they were dancing on, or if that they were dancing on, or, you know, caressing, or, you know, maybe, you know, there was not, like, whereas, like, in, you know,
it was very female centered,
right? I love that. In rappers videos, like, you'll have women, like, shaking their ass on them, or like they're in a strip club, they're slapping their ass, as well as talking about what they're going to do to them. Like, it's like, I've, like, to the point, like, I've got a whole freaky ass rap playlist on my Spotify, and it's like it's all men. So like so just to sort of to talk about, like, you know, the amount of men rappers speaking like that versus female rappers, I mean, it's uncomparable. Is it in or un or in?
Bro, don't ask me about these words.
But it's not comparable. So yeah, it's really crazy, and honestly, it's kind of slightly overpowered the song, to be honest with you. So I'll actually start off by saying this. I won't lie to you, I don't think it's that exciting of a song. I actually don't. That's just my opinion, Shah speaking here. I don't think it's that exciting of a song.
I fucking love it.
I do feel like it's a great moment for women. I do.
Yeah.
And so that is what I sort of am happy about. But I feel like them two can come so much harder on songs. That like
True.
I just feel like for me personally, I would have expected just something. I don't know. I just feel like it could have been so much more exciting of a song. I'm not talking about the content. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about the subject matter. So they can talk about wet ass pissoir all they like. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I just don't think that, like, I've heard Megan kill songs. I've heard Cardi kill songs. So when they came together, I'm like, rah, like this is about to be sick.
Yeah,
and I listened to it.
Same. It was.
I listened to it and I was a bit underwhelmed. That's just how I felt.
I mean, same. That's how I felt when I first listened to it. I agree. But then I listened to it again. I fucking love the song. And to me, I love like a hoe song. Like every girl has got their hoe song, and that's just one of mine right now. But yeah, like definitely like killed it more in tracks before. But I think it's just like a fun little song for the girls. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's why men are hating. Men hate when women collectively come together and enjoy ourselves. Like, let us enjoy ourselves. Let us shake our ass and talk about our vaginas. Let us enjoy. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like it's just like a little fun thing for women to just have fun with. And I think just it isn't anything to have been taken like that seriously. Do you know what I mean? I think what they've done, like what's more important is just like the female empowerment aspect of it.
Because exactly.
Definitely. Exactly. Like I didn't even notice until you said that there isn't actually any men in the video, which is great. Because we're talking about ourselves, so we don't need men in the video. So yeah, that's great as well. Like just having like beautiful ass women like just doing their thing and like saying like, look, my fucking P game is sick. Like that's what it is. So like why not? So yeah.
To go back to CeeLo though, just to quote what he said. So he did an interview with Far Out magazine, and he used the song as a jumping off point to criticize multiple female artists who talk about sexuality in their music. So he called it shameless and disappointing on a personal and moral level. I mean, what does that even mean?
Shut up.
Like, what does that even mean?
And the thing is,
though?
Cardi B came out and she was making like great points. She was like saying like, the thing is, you lot want to be pressed that we're talking about sex when there's however many other female rappers out here talking about like other stuff that has a bit more substance to it. I'm not saying that like speaking about sex doesn't have any substance, but there's people like No Name, for example, like a big one. She's been like quite big on the Black Lives Matter right now.
She's been huge,
No Name. She's
great.
So like she talks about politics. She talks about sex as well, but she also talks about some serious shit too. So to say that, and there's so many other artists, because Cardi was like, you lot are not searching out for these artists that are speaking about these things. You just want to be pissed off at women for doing these things, which is true. So he's saying all that shit and not listening to all these up and coming female artists, because female rappers right now are fucking killing it. There's so many talented ones.
Absolutely.
So for him to say that and to just discredit all the shit that women have been doing in this industry right now, that's just bullshit to me. So that's ridiculous. Fuck what he said.
Yeah, and then there's also, we're going to talk about a political a bit later, but I just want, in relation to the video, there was Ben Shapiro. He was a conservative, and it's a viral video now online actually. So he read the lyrics of what?
Oh, this guy.
And he went so far as to tweet that his wife, who is a doctor, told him that a vagina so wet it requires a bucket and mop, as Cardi and Megan boasted to have, might be a sign of sexually transmitted infection. Like, what the fuck?
Incorrect.
Like,
well, I mean, it's not true, though, is it? So
it's crazy.
Did you hear the gynecologist who came out? They were just basically just agreeing with what they were saying. Like, yeah, like the reason why it's, what did they say? They were just basically saying that like it's a good thing that your vagina is wet. Obviously, it shows that you're like aroused and whatever. So I don't know what Ben's wife is talking about.
I mean, literally,
a whole gynecologist came out and said like, no, it's a good thing. So like, yeah.
It's crazy. And so yeah, it's just like to think about things like that. I mean, there's lots of different things on Twitter that he like making jokes about and stuff like that. But yeah. Criticizing and suppressing women who harness their sexuality, like it's just ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous.
Stay out of women's business. That's it.
100%. And so I doing research for this and just like looking at, not even having to do research because everything's just like flying in, like everyone's talking about it so much. I mean, to be honest, kudos to them as well, because there's been so much media frenzy surrounding their song, which is why it's been, it's probably one of the most listened songs at the moment, but yeah, just the amount of just controversy, like it's weird. It's so weird.
because it's not that deep, is it?
It's so weird.
But I mean, like,
though.
this is the thing though, like I was saying in the beginning, like society has taught us that women shouldn't enjoy sex. We're there just like as a vessel, basically, to please men. We were there to just have babies or whatever, and like because it's changed, like men just don't seem to like it, and it's them who have an issue with it, or it's women who've got internalized misogyny that don't like it. And it's like, that's okay if you don't want to like fly your freak flag, that's fine, but don't like put down other people who do want to do that. Like,
I mean, to be clear as well, like, you know, obviously she does get a bit graphic, but to be honest, she has a lot of good wordplay in the song as well, so like a lot of metaphors and things like that she could have probably said a little more.
Macaroni in this pot.
Like, do you know what I mean? So like things that she could have said a lot more explicitly that she didn't even say.
Yes.
But you know, like men, you know, they've spoken about the size of their the size of their ding dongs, the kind of sex they like, how long they like to have sex for, the positions.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, the list does go on. Like, they just chat about it so much, and it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, for black women as well, I think let's even talk about that, because you know, black women are over sexualized. You know, the whole figure eight thing is like, you know, if you're not black and you don't have a figure eight, then you go get surgery to get the figure eight, you know, it's just I think that's probably another reason why it's so crazy, because I mean, you know, Megan this is bodacious, and obviously Cardi, she's not been secretive about the work that she's had done, but she, you know, she does look, you know, very curvy and stuff like that, so you know, and that has been over sexualized in the media like extensively, like, so why now?
And why not? Why would they not profit off it? Do you know what I mean? And that's what people get pissed off at. We've lived in this like society, well, if we're going against the patriarchy, but we've lived in a patriarchy where like women are seen as this and that, and like men like to for porn for example, women are sold sexually. So why is it bad for a woman to reclaim that and then sell that back to you? Like, why does that make people so pissed off?
No, honestly, it doesn't make sense. And I mean, to talk about it, they're actually kind of reversing gender roles in it, because they own their sexuality in the way that we typically see men do, and so that's really important, you know. And I think it's time that someone takes a stand. But can I just say something interesting as well? Is it because they're women of colour? Because you have Lady Gaga who was singing about riding on a disco stick, and we didn't talk about it. I don't remember ever.
I mean, Madonna, like the thing is, and like Madonna was like way before like this was even like sex positivity was even like more of a thing, but like Madonna was like one of the most fucking sexual artists out there.
100%.
Satisfy My Love, that video was just sex all over. She was doing it. Yeah, no, it's true. And there wasn't really like, I think people were
go sorry
no, I was gonna say maybe people were like
stressed.
Offended, but like not to this scale.
I'm getting
it's just
stressed.
Not that deep.
Nah, but like they actually like they
called
Lady Gaga's song like empowering. Like people thought her song was, you know, she was singing about a fucking disco stick. So is it because they're talking about their own genitals that's the issue, and that they're not referring to like the focus is not on
maybe they weren't inventive enough. I think the word pussy triggered a lot of people.
That's weird.
So I'm sorry for that if that's you.
So I mean, we want to know your thoughts on it, so definitely let us know in the comments or things like that. But it's so weird that like literally women's own bodies have been weaponized against them. And I mean, this is the whole crux of the sex positivity movement, because we're literally being weaponized for doing basic shit. Like we can't, we're literally born this way.
Bro, we can't even wear like a tight dress without a man fucking whistling at you. Like, come on, man. Like, shit.
You know, remember there was that famous thing back in the day, this woman who was, I think she was like Latina, I believe, and she was walking through New York and she filmed what she goes through every day.
Catcalling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Every day, this is what she goes through when walking through New York. Plus, like, I believe it was mainly like construction workers, I believe.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I've seen that one.
And it was crazy. Like
people out of cars, like all that sort of shit. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
But I think that leads us on to sex work. So like we're talking a lot now about like reclaiming shit, and like sex work is a big one. So I'll just explain like what sex work is. So it's just the exchange of sexual services, performances, or products for material compensation. So like money, gifts, whatever the fuck. So I think like one thing like people don't get about sex work is that it is actually work, as well as like just maybe being some, because like I think people use it for two things. A lot of people use it to like empower themselves. Like I know I've heard a lot of people saying like, oh yeah, it's just like really, I find it really fulfilling, I find it quite like empowering, whereas other people are just like, it's just a job, to be honest. Like you know, you get your you get your great days, you get your bad days, just like any other job. Like I'm just trying to get my money, do you know what I mean? And we have to remember that it is a job, and that there can be stresses, there can be difficulties, like things like that. And let's think. So yeah, I mean, like with that, like there's so many things that sex workers do have to face as well. Like they're up against a lot, so there's a lot of dangers that they do face. So they can face things like rape, violence, and I would say rape because like a lot of people, this goes back to entitlement, because people are sex workers, people assume that they're entitled to their bodies, and that's not how it works. Being a sex worker is two adults entering into a consensual agreement, and if that agreement is breached, then that's not me doing my sex work, that's you taking advantage. So we have to remember that as well. So I think that's why there's so many like activists trying to like decriminalize sex work, because there's a lot of dangers with them. So like sex workers can be harassed by police. They are a lot. Like I know there's an area in Atlanta where I believe there's quite a lot of trans sex workers, and that's like a big issue going on at the moment, just getting harassed. And it's just really difficult for them right now. And if we had like laws in place to say like, look, cool, you guys can do your work safely, then a lot less of these attacks would take place. And like, you know, but yeah, that's a bit about sex work, which nicely leads us into OnlyFans, which I'm sure you guys like all know about.
Before we go to that though, I just want to ask a question. Like in terms of sex work, because obviously that's such a broad broad topic. So in a lot of areas it's still illegal. So why is that the case?
No, it is.
Because why is that the case? Because you've got like Amsterdam, where you've got the red light district, where it is legal, and you can pay and you can go into a sex shop, and it is safer because they've got like they sort of, you know, made sure the conditions, you know, make it safer for the workers. But like why is it illegal?
I think I'm just like a big conspiracy person, because like I think it's just because the government don't make anything from it, so that's why they don't make anything. Like drugs, isn't it? They don't make any money from it, so it's just like drugs, isn't it? Like, so like marijuana is like, it's not that deep, isn't it? But it's illegal. But surely
if they did make it a bit more legitimate, then they'd be able to claim taxes and shit. So
and then there'd be more control. But I mean, I literally don't know. I just think it's just another thing to control women, because a lot of women are so like sex workers, a lot of them are women. I'd say there's more so. I don't know the exact statistic, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's a control thing. I'm not sure like why it's illegal, but I don't know.
Because the reality of it is that if it's her choice, if it's a person's choice, because let's be clear, there are both men and women sex workers. If it is their choice to partake in it and get money, like I don't understand like why. What is the issue? If they don't take issue with putting themselves in, you know, somewhat of a, at times could be compromising position, even though it shouldn't be compromising, but you know, at times it is. You know, is it any more dangerous than being on like a construction site and like having the danger of like a brick like knock you out? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly, it's still a job at the end of the day. And the thing is, like, these same people are the same people that consume porn. So you're consuming sex work, and like the thing is with a lot of these porn sites is that they're just illegally taking material from workers, and they're not paying them. So places like Pornhub, for example, are just putting loads of videos on their website for free. Loads of these sex workers are not making any fucking money, because
but then there is a big porn industry of workers who do make a lot of money though. Like, so that's where I get confused though, because like I guess we need to look at like the actual.
Well, I guess that's more paid for.
Right, but we need to look at like the conditions, or like a bit more in detail, I guess. But like obviously like the porn like movie industry is huge. Like that does make money. It makes a lot of money. And there's like there's like big porn stars who are like famous for being porn stars, and like they make P. I mean, like,
do you know you've got like Mia Khalifa only made, was it $12,000, and she made about 27 videos in her career,
right?
And her videos are still circulating now. She literally did porn for like a couple of months,
right,
or like a year or something like that, and she only made like $12,000. She said, I got paid fuck all, $12,000 for like 27 videos. Like, that's not anything. They don't get paid anything.
No, that isn't.
Companies that are making money, not the workers.
Yeah, and there's some big companies that do make money from it.
Right. Which is why OnlyFans is great at the moment.
Amazing.
So if you guys don't know what OnlyFans is, where have you been? I heard that song today and I was like, oh shit, Rihanna. Anyway. But yeah. So OnlyFans, if you guys don't know, it launched in 2016 and it actually was a content. So what it is it's a content subscription service where content creators can earn money from users who subscribe. So like people can be like, yeah, like come through to my and see my shit for like $15 a month, $20
Listen,
a month.
everyone knows OnlyFans
whatever.
because Beyonce said it in the remix of Savage.
On my demon time and again.
Yeah, like.
But no, everyone was out there. They're like, Auntie, why do you know about OnlyFans? We're like, Beyonce should know about OnlyFans. Come on, yeah. But no, yeah. So a lot of sex workers have moved on to there, and a lot of people are saying it's actually changed the face of sex work because basically what I was just saying then is like obviously their material is being stolen. They're not getting the money from it. What sex workers can now do is they can control exactly how much people are paying for it. They can control like who's coming in and like they can control their own money, their own content, whatever. And then I'm guessing that what they can do is they can charge more if people want to see certain things. They're like, oh yeah, because obviously they'll post like a little teaser on their Twitter, but like, oh yeah, click now to like see the rest of my OnlyFans. So like, you know, you're just running your own business and you're controlling everything. And that's like what a lot of these sex workers don't have is like control or like power of what they're doing. And I think like this is just giving them that back. I think it's great. Like,
yeah, so really I follow a few YouTubers who have OnlyFans because obviously YouTube is the algorithm's doing bits right now. So a lot of people are, you know, definitely moving on to OnlyFans or doing like both. And one in particular, Abby Nicole, shout you out. She's dope. She's like a beautiful black woman, and she doesn't do like she doesn't perform like sex and stuff like that, but she does like, you know, do like sort of twerking videos and things like that. From my understanding, I haven't seen it because I don't subscribe, but you know, my understanding is that you can literally set like how much you charge. So some people charge like $40 a month, and that's like and people pay it. Like you literally set it, like everything is controlled by you. So as Afia's already said, it's like running your own business. And then what it is as well is that people want to send you messages, and that you can charge them for that. So if someone will send you a message, you can charge them £10 in it. Pay me, bitch. £10 or whatever.
Pay me, love it.
Yeah, right, and then they can also request like specific videos, like you know, little videos.
Send me a foot video.
And they can charge, and you can charge them as much as you like for that as well. So like for her, for example, in a month she made 40k.
Fucking
low key, it makes me rethink about my life.
And it's like 9 to 5, like
no,
9 to 5,
exactly.
no.
She's making 1-2 videos a day, if that, or even ridiculous. A week. Like it's crazy.
I love that shit though. Like I love like women getting that shit. I love all of 100%. That so much. And like the thing is like, guys, like me and Charlene have like joked about this in the past. Like, look, yeah. If we need to see little foot pictures here and there, like we might just have to do it. But the thing is, like, what we have to like realize that this shit it is hard as well though, because like can you imagine like the volume of like people, like if like 40-50 people are messaging you a day, I don't know if you get that many, but you know, if like 40-50 people messaging you a day, like, oh shit, I've got to do this, that's like stressful. So I don't know if I could even hack doing that. For real. We have to like we have to rate and respect like sex
that's a hustle shit, fam. Like, that is hustle.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
hard
hustle.
work, man. It's not easy at all.
No,
so for people like,
all.
oh, I could easily just, you know, quit my job and go and strip. Well, it's not that easy. No. So
no, I just no. But have me reconsidering, bro. Because I imagine you're doing that an hour, 2 hours a day. You got time to do everything else. Like like the world is my oyster, my G. Like, and you can do it from any location. And it's just like, so it's just an app though, isn't it? So you just do it. You can do it from any location. All you really need is your phone. If you've got a decent phone camera, I guess, or whatever. Like,
then you're calm.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
What? Oh wait, when you're struggling, like the thoughts come into your head, you're like,
right. And do you know what I like as well? So obviously, you know, those sort of websites used to be a lot more fetishy, and so I like the fact that OnlyFans has made it a lot less like creepy in that sense, because you know, you had all these weird websites like Seeking, like that's the bait one, and like things like that.
Oh yeah, Seeking arrangements. Yeah.
Right. So
is that what
you
you're
know,
talking about?
Yeah. And so, you know, people felt a bit uncomfortable with that. And then also, you know, you had these like Piggy something. There's some weird websites online, like, you know, like for example, the girl on Euphoria. Who so doing stuff like that, and she was making pee, bro. Like she was making money. She was making pee. She was
and
beautiful.
that seemed great as well, because all she was doing is telling the men that they were like shit. I can do that. I can do like, you're worthless. I can do that with my monotone voice. You're worthless. I would say
people just listen to Afia. Afia can tell you about your life, bro. Don't even. She's not even kidding. She's not even kidding.
So that would be great for me. But yeah.
But yeah, no, I just no, I think OnlyFans is wicked, and I think it should be promoted more.
Definitely.
However, of course, there's always negative connotation surrounding it, and as such,
always the bad vibes.
Right, the YouTubers that I've watched, you know, they're people have like shunned them, like people like stop talking to them, and like they're literally like, but I'm literally just trying to make a living to support my family, like,
yeah, exactly.
And it's like also like she's literally not even showing anything. But it doesn't even matter, actually. It doesn't matter. At the end
even
of the
if
day,
she was like,
right, it doesn't even matter. The point is that like, why like it's an honest living she's making, like, because you're not smart enough to do it as well. I don't really know, like, it's just it's crazy to me, like, it's actually crazy to me. And it's just, what is not good though, and that's a shame, is that people end up recording stuff or screenshotting stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, and then put it on fucking Pornhub, and then the cycle happens
Pornhub
again.
Or just on the website, like people put it on Twitter, you know, and just it's
people do it maliciously as well.
Proper.
I saw this guy on Twitter, and he was like targeting this girl who does OnlyFans. He's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm in your, because he was already subscribed. He was like, I'm taking your videos, I'm gonna put them everywhere. I think it may be because like she didn't do like something that he wanted, something like that, and like people can just get really spiteful, and then he was sharing the videos, just some bullshit. But yeah, people can get really spiteful with it, and I think they just hate that, like, yeah, like you said, they're not smart enough to do it, or they don't have, like, you know, the capacity to do it or whatever, and that they're not making that much money. Because if you hear someone's making 40k and you're there in your 9-to-5 jobs, you're gonna feel a bit bitter, aren't you?
Fam,
if you're that sort of person.
No, I'm not.
But I mean, you're not bad minds them, innit? But I mean, there's people who are like, why are they doing it? I'm not doing it. Yeah, that sort of shit.
Hundreds.
But yeah, shout out to everyone on OnlyFans. Like, do your thing.
And I think that leads quite nicely onto Slut Walk, to be honest.
Yes.
So guys, I'm sure you guys all heard of Amber Rose's Slut Walk, but actually it was something a bit before that. So Slut Walk is a transnational movement calling for an end to rape culture, including victim blaming, slut shaming of sexual assault victims. Specifically, participants protest against explaining or excusing rape by referring to any aspect of a woman's appearance. So the rallies actually began in April in 2011 in Toronto, Canada, after a Toronto police officer suggested that a woman should avoid dressing like sluts as a precaution against sexual assault, and subsequent rallies have occurred globally. So, I mean, first of all, we know what slut means. Slut means like, well, people refer to people as sluts as people who like wear sexy attire, short skirts, you know, stockings, scanty tops, and also people who like women. I guess actually women. Let's be specific. Women who sleep around, you know, or are perceived to sleep around. But I mean, what even is that? Like what even is sleeping around? Like, just do you? Like, it's not. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. And so it's become a really big thing, and really the resurgence came again when Amber Rose launched her Amber Rose Slut Walk, which took place in LA. And when was the first one in America? Actually,
like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's like a few years ago. And and she launched it because everyone knows the trials and tribulations she went through with Kanye, as well as other people. I mean, he said some really mean things about her, about how he had to take like, I think it was 30 showers before even going out with Kim. Like, that was horrendous. And he said that on, you know, really public like radio show, and a lot of people heard it and it went viral. So, you know, and
it's quite hypocritical because like, also for the fact that like people were so against Kim as well, because obviously her sex tape. So for him to say something like that, knowing what she went through and like the sex shaming that she went through, to then say something like that, it's like, well, I don't know, like you can't really say one thing and then say the other. Yeah, it's just, that's horrible. But
yeah, so she holds it in LA, and it's really cool because it has things like live DJs and then sign making booths. But what I like is that she's made it a whole like educational experience, and also really good. So they have like free breast cancer screenings. They have HIV testing, and it's amazing. Like, it's open to anyone who's 18 years of age or above. And like it's gotten so big now that she's getting like big boy sponsors, like, you know, Subway, T-Mobile, Beats by Dre, and obviously lots of celebrities go as well. And I just think for me, like, you know, that is good, because that means that we're seeing again more awareness like come to the topic, and you know to have big sponsors like that means that, you know, hopefully there's starting to be a shift in consciousness. But then, you know, unfortunately we then get things like the WAP video where it seems like we're taking a few steps back, to be honest. You know, it's a shame, but I think she's been a huge amazing advocate, you know, for women in general. Definitely. And she's had a few years break, but I believe it's come back next year, so obviously look out for that if you're in the LA area. I think we have to stand together, and I think that's her main message. You know, she talks often about women just being able to wear and do what they like when they like, and without any conversation. She can wear her hot pants and walk around, and she shouldn't be, you know, subject to ridicule because of that. Like, what, that doesn't even make sense. Like,
exactly. And it also doesn't take away from your character or whatever. I can be wearing like booty shorts and then still holding an intelligent conversation. People assume that you're one thing because of the way you look or you're dressed, and that's just not the way that it is. Like, women are held to such a high standard. We have to be this, we have to be that, and like, it's just, let's throw that all out and just be like who we are, basically, and let's just let people live, man. So
yeah, I think it's a wicked thing that she's doing. I think it's great that she's brought so much attention to it. And really quite sad as well, you know. I've watched a few of like the talks that she did, like she's done at the Slut Walk, and, you know, she's like literally, you know, been reduced to tears just talking about her experiences. And to be honest with you, like a lot, you know, often with like people, you know, that she's dated, because, you know, they've just literally reduced her to nothing and made her feel awful just for her sexuality. And like, that's it's really sad. So shouts out to you, you know, for bringing sort of more positive light to it. And no, definitely, I don't think it's come to London yet. No,
I'm surprised it hasn't. I'm sure it would. Something like it will come.
So yeah, they've had one. Iceland, okay, actually UK says in Newcastle, actually.
Newcastle. That's good.
So but yeah, hopefully it comes to London at some point.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Oh wait, similar marches were also held during time. Okay, guys, you know we're factual. we're factual on this podcast. So London has had we know that like London has had like women rights and that type of thing marches, but maybe we need to have something more specific, and I think that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, moving on,
I think on the flip side now, religion, I think that definitely plays a part into like what people perceive, and we said that in the beginning we're going to talk about women here, but what people perceive women should and shouldn't do. So obviously no sex before marriage, like a lot of religious people believe that and like stick by that. So I think that's like something that like definitely plays into part. Or those who are like married now and like, you know, that's not what women should do, to like single women or whatever. But society is changing. Like, a lot of women are not getting married now, but they're still having consenting sex with like however many people they want to, and that is fine. So yeah, I think that's definitely like a barrier and just something interesting to bring up. I'm not sure like your views on that.
So here's my thing. I think that I think my issue is that people who decide to follow their religion and, you know, follow, you know, quote unquote the rules of that religion, more power to you, like more power to you. However, I think my issue is where you become destructive against people who don't. Like, don't
impose your beliefs on other people,
right?
Like,
so
that's what it is,
you know, like they see it as almost like, they see human sexuality as a destructive force, except under the contract of marriage, and like that for me like is a bit hard to understand. I'm a Christian. I've said it before on the podcast, and I always will be. God is my guy for sure. However, you know, I just believe that if you are in a committed situation, or not even that, if you feel comfortable doing it, then this is what you need to do. That's genuinely how I feel. Like, if you feel in a place where you're comfortable doing it, you should do it. In terms of me personally, you know, I would rather be in like a committed situation, but that is only my thoughts for myself, and that doesn't mean that but I feel that, you know, in terms of everyone, do what you feel like you want to do that makes you comfortable. That's literally how I feel. you know. And I
Definitely.
thought, to be honest with you, I do feel that a lot of Christians are a lot more progressive now. I can speak for Christians because I'm a Christian. I'm not 100% sure about other religions, but I do. But then at the same time, you know, there are always those sort of ones that are very like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I do feel like a lot of Christians are starting to be progressive, you know.
But I mean, this is a whole other conversation. But yeah, like speaking on that, when you're saying that you shouldn't do that. When I was like heavily involved in the church when I was about 17, yeah, they told us that like you shouldn't, like, sex is a gift. And if you like, so he explained it in this like metaphorical way. It was like, imagine you had a present and then like Christmas was 10 days away, and then like every day you'd open a bit of the present. So he was explaining that as like foreplay, for example. Okay. He was like, by the time you got to Christmas, the present is already completely opened. So now what gift do you have to give to your husband or wife? And everyone was like, oh my god, we can't have sex before marriage. And it was just this traumatic event, and I was like, I could never do it before, obviously that's not happened, but that's like what they put in your head. And like being so young, like you just, I just don't agree with that. But yeah, like Charlene said, like you just got to do whatever you feel is right for you at the time, so long as you're comfortable. It doesn't matter if you are in or not in a relationship, however you feel in the time, like just do what you want to do, really.
100% agree. I think that the moral story with everything we said so far is, honestly guys, it is your choice. And that is the same thing we've been preaching, and we're going to continue to preach, because it should always be your choice. No one can tell you you're anything. No one can tell you you aren't anything, because it's all your choice. And it doesn't even make sense to me when people are like, oh, you're this, you're that. And let's be very clear, it got to like, let's be clear, I've evolved, okay, because I won't even lie to you and say that when I was younger I didn't, you know, I wouldn't say discriminate, but I didn't hold prejudice against people who were perceived to do this or that. Like I'm not gonna lie here, at the end of the day it's a Sunday, we're recording, so like I can't even front on the day of the Lord. But it's like, you know, I had to learn though, like, and you know, when I was younger I definitely was a bit, you know, like, oh, she's like this or she's like that, school, you know. And I would say even right, but even after school, like at the end of the day it took me a second to like really realize, like, rah, like what am I thinking, like this doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day we need to, I think when you have the opportunity to progress and develop your thoughts for your own, like as your own, then it's like, you know, then you can form your own opinions and your own thoughts, and that then should lead to, you know, where you should be now, which is, you know, everyone just being mindful and being just being courteous of everyone around you, and accepting around you, exactly. So I agree.
And to end with that, I think just to stay out of people's business. That's what I think.
100.
That's how I say. That's what I learned from what you were saying. Just manage your business, innit? And that's it.
100.
So yeah, thanks guys for listening. We hope this has been educational. And like we said before, if there's anything that we've missed out or we didn't say correctly, please let us know. Or anything you want us to bring up or address, let us know. So we'll see you next week.
Another one. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Bye.